back. Leader's garment. Quite happy.
It's alright, isn't it? Looks pretty good in that bad boy.
Excellent, I think the word you're looking for is... Look at that thing. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Beautiful.
Now, only if you're ready for this.
Welcome back to the OTB podcast, New Zealand's original and still the best mountain bike podcast. Coming to you live from studios all across the country. We're definitely not all in one place, but we got the whole band back together this week. Lester, Red Dog, and Chris, welcome back, boys.
Thanks, mate. Great to be back.
Hey,
Feels like it's been a long time since we've all been in this together.
Well, yeah, we missed you. We missed you last week, Lester. But you'd been on a bit of an adventure. You'd been on a nice wee trip to Canada.
Yeah, mate. A bit of 10 days over there, gallivanting around Whistler was great.
Yeah, it must have been tough.
So I missed you, unfortunately.
It's all right. It's great to have you back.
Can't do it all, eh?
How's your beloved? Did he enjoy the trip?
Which one? There was 2 this time. 3, actually.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's a real menage a trois.
Nah, we all had a great trip. How's this? You can take... So, Kai, Byron and myself, 10 days riding, no day off, and across all possible conditions, none of us had a crash.
That's impressive.
So we were either riding way too weak or we're good.
Maybe it's an age thing. Maybe you've just dialed it back a bit.
Self-preservation or don't ride.
Yeah. Self-preservation grows with age.
Absolutely.
I have one question for you that I saved up for the pod. At what point do you decide to wear a rubbish bag over the top of your rain jacket?
when it's really wet and really muddy.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. And yeah, I mean that we had a first few days were like dry powder dust, almost too dry. And then we had a few days where it was a bit drizzly, kind of hero dirt. And I think the rubbish bag day, I can't remember exactly which day that was. There was one day where it was like proper wet. Actually, that reminds me, rubbish bag morning tomorrow morning. Then we had one day when it was proper wet and we were just like, what are we going to do where all of our gear is wet and muddy already? And so we went to the supermarket and brought 30 heavy-duty rubbish bags.
This sounds like a downhill national from like the early 2000s.
You know what? In Whistler, we were like, surely we can find a spray painter suit and we'll just wear that for the day and chuck it away. Nobody had spray painter suit. We could have gone right out to the junction and to the hardware store out there, Function Junction, and apparently they had them, but
not
then
many
we
people
were like, rubbish bags.
Cooking up meth like right in Whistler with a need for them.
No, I swear there would be though. There definitely would be some meth being cooked in Whistler somewhere.
Probably just in the outskirts.
It's the only way you'd be able to afford to live there.
Squamish, isn't it? Isn't that what like kind of well-meaning professionals who have moved to Squamish do to make up the rent?
A bit of a top up.
It's like they got like, is Wanaka and Squamish like you sort of like there's sort of just an understanding that you can sell drugs to make it pay.
Yeah.
We might have hit a new record at like 3 minutes in when we've just gone completely sidetracked.
Yeah, absolutely we have.
Oh man.
Yeah.
World champs though. I'm a little bit conflicted. It was a pretty good race to watch, but I don't know. It was an odd one. What do you guys reckon?
Track good?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
That good.
It was very straight.
I've got a take on this. I've got a hot take on this that I know is not going to be popular amongst races. But if you were to pick a race to show someone who doesn't really know what it's like to race downhill, what downhill is, that's the run you choose because it looks gnarly. It probably doesn't make for the best racing, but every helmet cam that you watch and like a lot of the footage looks so sick.
I think it was just I'm with you. I think it was just a little bit too fast. Like it just looked. I mean, I watched the Win TV video and kind of everyone was like, "Yeah, man, I don't want to go that fast." Like it was just don't brake and go as fast as you possibly
Yeah.
like wide open can.
Super
think you can see
straight.
that in the
It looks
results as
gnarly
well.
though.
The results kind of show that. Like, you look at that the top 40. There's a lot of like names, even in the top 20, that you probably wouldn't normally see in the top 20.
Well,
I think
it was.
a lot of
Yeah.
guys are willing to hang it out that bit more.
I think I read somewhere that it was the tightest top 5 ever at a World Champs. 5th place was Amory was 0.457 back. It's 5
That's ridiculous.
positions.
So I was
under
just going to
half a
say,
second.
sorry, that like the course may not be, I don't think, amazing, particularly to people who are, I guess, kind of in the know. But the racing it produced was really good, particularly when you started getting guys who were like up, and then they slowed down in the bottom and see you later.
There was a bunch of that. Like, I think it was sort of like the first 3 splits. You'd see people coming in. It was like, oh yeah, they're really going. And then there was like the 3rd split when, it was when Bruni came through 1.8 up that you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like what has he done here? But you kind of look at that, and that was where everyone started going a little bit backwards almost. There was obviously something in there that was
3 and 4, between 3 and 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that was kind of like where Danny just put the heat in and put in
second and a half.
That was such a good
steamer
run.
of a run.
Mm.
That was like classic Danny Hart. He's back.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, Danny Hart. How fucking good's that?
yeah,
Yeah.
4th place. That was impressive.
That was
Especially when he
that was-
basically, looked like he was essentially doing nothing this year. Ends up on kind of what you'd call a B team. No disrespect to them, but they're not one of the top level teams. And there he goes, just about gets a podium at
We
World
got a
Champs.
win.
Yeah,
Do you reckon he's had to take a bit of a step backwards bike wise? Do you think that spike is as good as what he's had?
It's
it
better.
seems to be working pretty good for him.
It
He looked good.
those
And the cube.
bikes seem to go good. I mean, they don't look as jacksy as some other bikes do under people. So
Yeah. I don't know, that cube they seem to be tinkering with constantly trying to get it good.
Mm.
Like they were always floating brake on, floating brake off. Like they seem to be messing around with it a lot. Whereas like, I know his GT, I know they've done a few mods of like,
We did
it
get the
looks
Dremel
like-
out on it.
yeah, they've had the Dremel out a bit,
Cutting
maybe getting a bit
parts
more
out, eh?
flex, which I think is actually kind of cool.
Probably better. Yeah.
Yeah. But it seems to
do
be
you
working for
reckon?
him.
Do you reckon people are tuning flex in the rear end way more than we've ever seen before?
Yeah.
I feel like
big time.
everyone's changing and chopping and
We
wrapping
also-
carbon.
Those
And,
Norco guys are doing, man. Like, I've seen a shot of like the different team guys. So Minar's one,
Manure.
and the rest of Minoir,
Manor.
Minor's bike,
Manure.
yeah, Minoir. But like they've got like completely different constructions for the different team riders.
Mm.
Yeah,
They've
he's
got
got
like
a
a
carbon
lattice and
wrap on his over top of the alloy swing arm, and then I know Specialized have different swing arms, different flex characteristics for that.
Common
Oh,
sale as
yeah.
well.
On common sale, yeah,
No
they've got
shit.
chromoly and alloy options. It's pretty cool actually how much of that's going on.
Red
we
Dog,
saw
you know
that
what that
carbon
all
wrap's
points
not
to,
like a hood one that you put on a Honda Civic.
It's just a clip on, just so it looks
Yeah.
sick.
An actual wrap,
Yeah.
a sticker wrap.
Yeah,
No,
it's
it's just a chain slap protector. You know, you used to be able to get like a carbon chain slap protector. Red Dog, you know this all points to one thing though, don't you?
race chassis.
Race chassis. Lots of race
Yeah.
chassis coming out, eh? Yeah.
Race
True
chassis
story.
big time. Hey, so I mean, Loris winning was pretty cool. I feel like he's been the bridesmaid to Bruni for like his whole career. So I was pretty stoked that he got the win. And Bruni was too. It was actually quite cool to see Bruni come through the line. He could have been so pissed. And he came through just absolutely stoked for his mate, which was quite cool.
I was chuffed when Bruni not crashed, but the fact that Loris is going to win, I was stoked.
Yeah,
Over
I think
Bruni. I didn't want Bruni to win
definitely.
with Loris in hot seat.
it would have been cool if Loris could have won without Bruni having to crash.
Yeah,
to get
hell
it.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I think that would have been really good validation. But fair play, Loris has kind of had a raw run, and
But
next year everything could change, couldn't it?
if you think about it though, like Dak Norton could have been on for the win too, and
Yeah.
crashes basically within sight of the finish line. Like, I don't know. I still feel like Loris won it
That'll haunt him for the rest of his career,
pretty
right?
fair. Yeah.
I tell you
That's
what though,
wild.
like just for the sake of like the story of downhill racing, to have a Steve Peat crash at Leger, and then have a Sam Hill crash, and then have a Rennie crash, all like in the last couple of corners of a world champs. That just really ramps the history story up. Not that it's a good
shows how
thing,
close they are. Like how shows how
they're pushing
fine
it,
the
eh?
margins are at that race.
Can you believe Benoit from accounts though? Just right there, 0.15 or 148 of a second back. Like Benoit winning worlds as his team closes up would have been a pretty cool story too.
Yeah, is he going to go to like factory Commensal next year or what?
I don't think so.
I haven't heard any rumours about what
so
he's
this
doing.
was apparently Benoit's got a few different options. This is what I was messaging an unnamed rider who was at Worlds yesterday about this. So apparently Benoit's got a few options up his sleeve. Most interesting one is Loris leaving Trek, which I didn't know about. Apparently Vital Team Rumours was already on it.
Vital
but
knew all about it, mate.
Apparently Loris to Commensal Muck-Off is done, and he's going there next year, which I didn't see coming.
That's got to be a good thing though. Like the Frenchies stick together.
But man, like him and Emery, like that's two big
odd
riders.
To me.
Yeah,
seems really odd to me. I mean, especially to have them on the same team. Like I would have thought that Commensal could have gone, okay, we really want Loris. Let's put more budget into one of the other Commensal, 30 other Commensal teams.
Yeah,
and put them in there.
Yeah.
So they're on Commensal still, but not under the same roof.
Do you think Loris, like this is a bit of a weird take, but do you think Loris kind of constantly lives under the shadow of Bruni? Like he's like, like when they were on the team together, he was like Bruni's little guy, like his little mate. And even now, like they still like Bruni still talks about him as being his best friend. Like,
well,
he's
they
like
have
proud
been
of him.
forever. They're like
exactly,
but
but I wonder a little bit whether or not it sort of made like Loris sort of like the perpetual little brother, like on teams.
Wonder.
No, he's world champ now.
When he was on the syndicate?
Fair enough.
I mean, it's interesting that was his first year on Trek the best year? Was it? This must be like is this his third or fourth?
I think this is going to be third. I reckon this is going to be third.
He joined that
1, 2, 3.
Year where they had.
Was it 2020 when he joined?
Yeah, it was that year where they like had to because Reece Wilson stayed on the team, and then they had Loris because Reece Wilson won the champs. So it was like a really weird year. They had like a stacked team when it sort of looked like they didn't mean to have a stacked team.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's interesting though. Like he hasn't ever really flourished like that. He always seems like he's on the back foot, doesn't he? They're always trying to get the bike right. Still can't get it right. Bringing this new bike, still can't get it right.
Yeah, I saw
on pretty good at Syndicate. No way. They got real close at Syndicate.
Yeah, he was good there. Apparently he rode a stock Trek Session frame at Worlds, where he'd been riding like custom frames before that.
Oh, interesting.
So I went back to something more standard, I guess, which is interesting.
Maybe those engineers do know what they're doing after all.
Yeah, who would have thought? Yeah, it was pretty good. Like, I don't know, there was a lot of the elite men's that I watched, and I was kind of like, man, there's not much going on here. It was kind of pretty boring there for a while, and then it definitely got better towards the end, that's for sure. Which it generally does, but it's also weird because they do qualifying, but then the qualifying results don't actually really mean anything for how they start anyway, and so you've got this weird start order, and
I think the start order thing has to change. It's just it's not good for following, like why have a seeding? I mean, I guess they call it qualifying, don't they? But why don't you make it a seeding run as well? Because you're qualifying riders or seeding riders by their World Cup results, but this is World Champs and it's completely different. And they try to make it a completely standalone, independent, different thing. So why have a tie back to the current World Cup standings? Seems really weird.
Yeah, it was
like the federations decide who's there. You see, like South Africa only sent women up.
Yeah,
they had 5 slots and they sent one guy.
Yeah, Teo Langson was there, but was
Yeah.
like going there anyway, and he ended up doing a bunch of media stuff, but they wouldn't put him on the team because he hadn't
Why?
met
So
their
weird.
qualifying criteria.
What's their qualifying
Apparently-
criteria? B grade banana.
Oh,
B40.
yeah, pretty much.
Get
I
picked
think
by good enough.
from a couple of things I read, it sounds like the South African Cycling Federation's always been pretty bad with this kind of thing. So they must have big standards.
Shit, that's weird.
But that is the thing, though, isn't it? Like, if it's really up to the federations who even goes in the first place, then like the World Cup qualifying or the World Cup like numbers mean jack in terms of qualifying for world champs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
That is strange.
So, top Kiwi performer, no surprises, Lockie Stevens-McNabb with the 16th. I know Lester saw this, but holy shit, Chris and Red Dog, did you see his crash the day before finals?
Bro.
Yeah,
Probably
catch it.
not.
yeah.
It
I
was
did.
huge.
Finger on the pulse.
You do have your finger on the pulse. That's good. You were on the socials
Yeah.
or something to see that.
No, I think it was on Vital.
Oh, that's
He was
fantastic.
lucky to be racing. Full
He looked
stop.
pretty stunned.
Man,
that was a
he-
huge crash.
it was hard to see from that angle, but he either just avoided absolutely drilling his head into that huge rock, or he did
Oh.
kind of tap it on it. But
Yeah.
either way, that was a huge crash.
Was that on that sort of 50k plus an hour straight at the bottom of that? I
I-
couldn't quite make out where it was.
Not too sure. I think it could. I mean, it was freaking fast when he came in, so it could have been.
Man, that looked so brutal. Yeah, he's
Apparently,
lucky to
his
be
old man
up.
was standing right there too.
Oh,
He told his old man to go like, "Oh, you just go up here and watch this section," and he came in and did that right in front of him. So
brutal.
yeah, Hey,
That's no good.
what was brutal? Lewis Hamilton was over there for the New Zealand team, so he's been the last couple of years as like I guess kind of downhill coach, and he does a bit of stuff with the XC team and that, which is quite cool. And he messaged me and said that there was those two bridges up near the top of the course. One of them was like a road gap, and one of them was the one that you actually had to like squash. Apparently, on the first day of practice, two juniors ended up getting helicoptered out of there because they were getting them mixed up as to which one was which, whether you
Oh.
sent it or squashed it. So apparently, one person squashed the road gap, and another person sent that squash roller one.
Oh, into the turn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
dear.
nasty.
Pretty horrendous.
It's also, is
Yes.
that not basic memory? Like,
That's
You're
juniors,
not
man.
gonna
What,
think so, eh?
what kind of
I jump the
What kind
first
of
one,
level?
I don't jump the next one.
have
Where-
you seen
whereabouts
juniors
can we
before?
see
They
this
are
crash?
so hyped up to be at a race like that. They would have been going out to win practice on the first run.
3 monsters deep because they're giving them away free or something. And yeah,
Oh
So true.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. So yeah, pretty stacked elite. I just kind of looked at the results again. Martin Mays got 20th, and he was only 3.2 seconds back.
Was he riding the e-bike?
yeah.
He was on the non-motored e-bike again.
Gnarly.
Yeah,
Oh, that's gnarly.
The non-Bosch powered.
no Bosch in there. Elite woman, Valley Hull, third world championships in a row. Man, she's smashing it.
I thought she'd thrown that away, at the bottom. It didn't look good. I don't know what
No.
it was. I was like, nah, she's not getting this. Not with that margin.
I thought it was over too, but it was she's pretty damn impressive. I think I read
Yeah.
Anne Caro's the only other person that's done 3 in a row in elite women's or something like that.
I think that's right. Yeah. That
How
was
many has Anne Caro done in a row?
Or
Max.
probably like 8. Nico Vullios was like, if it wasn't for Sierra Nevada in 2000, I think he would have gone 8 in a row. I think he went 5,
Really?
Miles Rockwell won
Oh.
1, and then he won another 2 or something like that in a row.
No way.
Oh,
insane.
I've just caught Lockie's crash.
How did
yep,
Miles
that's
Rockwell win that?
Fucking horrible.
Don't know.
There was a
bro.
scandal
It's-
post there, wasn't there?
Is that where he cut the tape?
It was
Yeah, it was
HB.
Greg Herbold in 1990.
HB cut
Oh,
the-
it was too. Sorry.
Imagine having a whole website created about like the fact that you
Yeah,
did it.
HB cut the course in
HB cut the course,
1990.com.
Yeah.
How could I get that wrong?
It doesn't
can someone
exist
bring that back
anymore, but
into
that
the
was a great
Spanish
website. There was a whole page dedicated to Brian Lopes as a douchebag.
Does the Wayback Machine or whatever it's called pick that up?
Yeah, you can find it on there. I had been and
Oh
looked
man,
at
it
it
was so
not that
good.
long ago.
That's
I remember
classic.
when Kieran spent like a couple of weeks riding in Niner, and Kieran was being like Brian.
Yeah, when it was a
Hey, like
it was an
Brian.
Ibis
It was an Ibis.
29er.
Ripley. It was a Ripley, eh?
Yeah, it was the
Be like Brian.
Ripley.
Early days.
We keep double
Um,
parking at the New World too.
KB's parking the Bosch van like wherever
Yeah.
he wants.
Yeah, just across 3
just
parks.
sideways
The
across
lines are
multiple
supposed
parks.
to be either side of the wheels, not like it's not a
Yeah.
centre line for the,
Yeah,
for
he
the middle of
lines
your
it
car.
up. Yeah.
100%.
Walking
Nailed
around
it.
with no shirt on. Oh man,
So good.
again.
Hey, speaking of no shirt, KB, real quick one. And maybe we park and come back to it in a second. But any recent events that have kind of ripped your shirts?
That have ripped my shirts. Wow. I mean, I knew this was coming at some point. Yeah, had a pretty good one on the XC bike yesterday. I'll paint the picture for you. I had intentions of September and October pretty much just, we've got the Walker coming up at the end of October, and I thought, September's a good time to just start really spending time on the XC bike. Spend a lot of time on there. And so, September 2nd, Monday, dropped the kids off at school. It was a nice sunny day. Had been raining quite a bit though the last few days. And I was like, right, it's XC month. So get home, get out on the XC bike. I was like, right, I'll go get an hour in. And it was a bit slippery, so I was kind of, just wasn't pushing the descents too hard. I drop into Hulk and Hogan, for those of you familiar with Codges and Nelson. Yeah, it's a bit
No
of a
idea.
blue trail, berms, that
Fast,
sort of thing
though.
at the top. It is fast, but I wasn't pushing it because I knew it was going to be slippery because it's hard packed. And there's a section of about 5 berms at the top that are all digger built quite fast, and in the dry, it's hauling ass down there. I come into the last right-hander, and again, not trying to push it, but my front wheel decided it was pushing it and pushed itself up over the top of the berm, and that there happened in like an absolute split-second instance. And then what progressed from there, as I was like flying away from my bike, felt like it was about 4 or 5 seconds, and then just absolutely drilled myself into the ground. So I was like, oh, that was a big one. I hop up, pretty sore, and look down. My glasses had come off my face. It hit the ground hard enough that my glasses had come off. My phone was lying on the ground. They had come out of my pocket.
No idea.
And I stood up, I looked down, and my shoes have got blood drips all over them. And I'm like, ooh, like this has happened pretty instantly. So I have a quick look, and my right forearm, I can see, good bit of blood already on the shirt. I was in Lycra because it's XC season,
Yeah,
So
so that
It
was
is.
going to be one of my questions.
You're right.
Clarifying question is, did you go out? You went out in Lycra?
oh,
You have
absolutely,
to.
it's XC season.
You have to. It's the XC
Yeah.
season.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
So
tells me about the mindset, though.
Let me just
Yeah.
clarify: you don't have a peak on your helmet.
no peak.
No, that's good.
peak.
Good.
Were you wearing
Um,
trail shoes?
no trail
XC
shoes.
shoes, not trail shoes. Oh, you were 100% fitting the bill.
And I'm like, oh, ribs are a bit sore too. Like, right, well, I'm halfway down this trail. No one's coming to help me from here, so I pick my shit up off the ground, put it back in my pockets, and I start riding. And I'm like, man, it's pretty hard on braking with my right hand at the moment, which is the side I'd landed on. And get down the bottom, and my white glove is kind of probably like a quarter red by this point.
White
So-
gloves. Oh, it gets
So at
worse.
this point,
Yeah.
you don't know what's happened. You just
I
know you're bleeding.
I knew I'd gash my arm pretty good, but I didn't
Right.
want to look at it. I was like, I can't do
Yeah.
anything about it here, so I'm
you
just
did
gonna.
to do, just don't look at it. Carry on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all I did was
yeah.
pull the sleeve. I just pulled the sleeve back down and just carried on because I was like, I don't want to know about it at this point. And so I rode home. So this is probably like 25 minutes post crash by the time I get home, I guess. Jump in the shower because I was covered in mud. Had a bit of a hose off. That was where I looked at it for the first time, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is a big one. Like I'd already, by the amount of blood, I was like, right, I'm going to the hospital. This is going to need stitches. I knew that regardless.
You're getting lightheaded.
No, it wasn't too bad, but there was blood just dripped all in the bathroom. And shout out to my mother-in-law Tanya for cleaning up my kit and the blood from out of the bathroom.
Are you just going to
And,
cut the sleeves off that bad boy?
Yeah, I'll probably just
Not
run
like
it
an early
sleeveless. I might
2000s?
actually just run
Yeah.
might actually just go full sleeveless on it. Go straight back to the shoulder seams.
Turn it into
Yeah.
a
See,
gilet.
Yeah.
like, you're running a long sleeve lycra.
Yeah, yep.
What are you, like, Spanish or something?
No, I need to cop some of that. I need to cop
It's
some of that.
winter, Chris. He's not
Yeah.
like training to. It's not like the
Wear
heat
a
of summer.
gilet
And
and
he's
a
like,
short sleeve, man. Like,
Nah, it's too cold.
he's
And
in Nelson, man. It's
I'm
still
going to come back
Arctic
to
down
that.
here.
so I
I
headed
want it in the
to the
summer.
hospital. Drove myself up to the hospital.
Mm.
Well, actually, no. What I did is I got out of the shower and I was like, "Oh, what am I going to stop this?" Because it was still a bit of blood coming out. So I got a lady's product out of the drawer in the bathroom and just stuck that down to my arm and off we went.
Oh, I've done that
So you're
before.
just throwing a tampon or a pad?
It was not a tampon. No,
you
it
went
was
with
a
pad?
pad. I stuck a pad
Okay.
on there.
Yeah, fair enough.
Headed to the hospital and sitting there and heard my name called out and walking up to the doors and I'm like, fuck. It was a mountain biker. It was the doctor that was on. So,
Oh, yes.
Tom Jerem, shout out to Dr. Tom.
Oh, is it Dr. Tom?
Yeah,
Funny.
Tom's
I'm
like,
doing a doctor in Nelson.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, where did you
Good
do
stuff.
it? I was
Did
like,
he-
so I explained the whole story to him. He dove in there, started scrubbing it out. One point, I mean, it's all numbed up with local, and he's just like scrubbing away in there, and he's like, "Oh, can you feel that?" And I was like, "Oh, I can feel you pushing, but I can't really feel much." He's like, "Oh, I've just got my finger on your bone at the moment." So
Did he prescribe you some probenecid?
no, I'm on the flucloxacillin, but that's a niche reference there, Lester.
Yes, those in the know.
That's an antibiotic, though, eh? Isn't it? The
Yeah,
flu
it is.
cloxacillin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't get any proctoceta while you were there, were you?
No, got a good supply of that still.
But he did have his finger on his bone.
I was going to say, KV, while you were there, did you get everything synced?
We
While I'm
so,
here,
yeah, it had actually like gone through. It had split the muscle, so I must have landed on a rock or something. It's actually split the muscle, and it had gone down to the bone in my forearm, and so yeah, it's like 2 or 3 stitches where he stitched the muscle back together inside, and then there's about I think 10 stitches externally holding that gash together, and then
Oh, man.
couple of fractured ribs, and yeah,
I've
great
got some
prep
fractured
for.
ribs as well.
Yeah, there's at least one, and I think another one. He found one for sure on the ultrasound, and then I think there's another one around the back that's fractured, got a fracture as well.
nasty.
So that's the worst part at the moment.
How much sympathy are you getting from your wife, Katie?
I mean, you know Katie.
Less than zero.
Not getting a lot of
Sympathy's
flack.
her middle name.
Nah, to be fair, she has been very good. So no, she's been looking after me, which is great. But she was
Can you take sick leave if you injure yourself
When you're
during
supposed to be
workouts?
working.
I don't know that.
Well, maybe it's technically a work injury.
I don't know the ins and outs of that. I guess it would maybe depend if the bike had a motor on it. I'm not too sure, but no. So yesterday,
So for discussion's sake, this was just like a rest day, and you were just spinning, and you were on the company vehicle.
yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an absolute balls up of a Monday. So I've had a couple of days of just kicking about now, which is
I
not
showed
great.
over Smoko at work. I showed lots of the ladies at work your gash, and they were all well impressed.
Nice.
They were like a good flesh wound.
Yeah.
You could repurpose what you just said there, Lester. Over Smoko, I showed someone your gash.
It's all you, Chris. I feel like we've jumped the shark a little bit on this episode in that
we didn't even do introduction.
We haven't talked about Erice actually winning.
Well,
she is world champion.
I was getting to the juniors, but then we got sidetracked with this.
Let's get ourselves back on track.
Injury.
And
so,
for clarification, definitely top Kiwi.
Yeah.
Erice Van Leuven, back-to-back world championships. Like, And I mean, I know they race. So the juniors raced on a Thursday, the elites raced on a Saturday, but her race run time was the fastest time of the weekend still, which is
Still unreal,
So
eh?
gnarly.
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
Awesome.
She was still like a half second faster than Valley, which, I mean, yeah, sure, the track would have changed, different conditions, whatever, but that's still a seriously impressive result.
Yeah. And you know that she's knocking on that door, man. Like it's not just conditions.
How
Yeah,
old
well,
is she now?
She's moving into elite next year, so she'll be
She is.
turning.
Right.
Yeah, because she's in her second year, so you can only race 2 years
Right.
at
Yeah.
this point. So she must be turning 19 next year. So
Yeah.
that would make sense because under 19.
Lovely.
Yeah, as at the end of year. Yeah, so she'll be 18 at the moment. But yeah, like 6.5 second winning margin, I think. And
Damn.
then
Awesome. It was awesome.
Sascha Earnest in third. Did Sascha get second or third last year? Can't remember.
We
Uh,
swept it last year, didn't we?
Can't
Did they
remember
go
whether
one,
it was.
2, 3 last year?
Well, they
No.
went 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Poppy. I can't remember whether Poppy
I
got
think-
second or Sascha got. Either
Oh,
way,
I think
Which
Sasha was
one's
third.
out?
It's been
back-to-back podiums for Sascha.
Kiwis on the podiums in junior women's last 3 years.
Yeah, and then well, I mean, Jenna Hastings won the year before Erice won as well, so that's three
That's so gnarly.
elite. I mean, junior women's world championships, which is fucking incredible when you look back at like the female talent level we've had in downhill in the past. It's been like a sporadic Vanessa Quinn, Scarlett Hagen,
Charlotte.
and then some big lulls, and now we've got like Erice, Sasha, Poppy, Ellie. Like there's just this level of depth, plus all these other like young girls who are just ready to step into their place as well, which is incredible.
They seem like they've got a good crew. Like they're all coming up together. I imagine that would have been one of the things for the previous generation. There was always sort of one female kind of crushing it from New Zealand, but you didn't even have like a good crew like they do at the moment.
No, it's pretty cool.
To clarify, Poppy got second.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was 2/3 for Sasha, but and then Ellie in fourth. So again, like first year junior with that result, like it didn't sound like she had the best weekend just from stuff that I've read and heard. So still to salvage out a fourth is pretty awesome. But I reckon the most understated Kiwi result of the weekend was Tyler Waite in fourth in junior men. Like it didn't really get much press because of how well the junior women did, but that fourth was awesome. Like he was so close to the podium, and he's missed most of this season so far with being injured. So it was a good comeback.
He looked good in practice, like real mint on track, eh? Looked pretty sick.
He's an awesome rider to watch. Like he's got such a nice style.
Wonder what's next year. Hopefully that Acer battle heats up.
Yeah, that's a gnarly junior field as well at the moment, eh?
Yeah. How about the kid, Bodie Burke, that got third? Did you see any of that? Like, he's just come out of nowhere.
He did real well at Crankworks, eh?
Yeah.
Whistler.
Yeah. But other than that, he's kind of just been not on the radar for anything. Came out and got a third. So
has he been at the other World Cups or not?
I don't know if he's even raced a World Cup or anything before. Stand by. I can tell you in a second. Oh, no, he did race at... He did race at Leger, but he was 10th. Which, not bad, but...
Not terrible.
No, he's actually raced... He's had a 15th, a DNF, and a 10th.
Okay.
So,
something's obviously clicked.
He's kind of been around, but yeah, obviously had a hell of a weekend. So that was pretty impressive. But yeah, that junior field, man, like Acer, Max Oren, there's going to be some battles going forward with those two.
That's going to be awesome once those guys step up to elite. Like how many? Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a couple of years away yet, really. But that whatever year it is when those boys step up, if they stick around, that will be epic.
There's got to be
'Cause he's
another
still-
kind of. There's got to be like another changing of the guard coming through soon, right? Because you look at like Brunies, Loris, Emery, like those guys are getting kind of old. Like, not that old, but you know, in the scheme of things, as to when people generally start kind of backing it down a bit in that racing side. Like these guys are going to be pushing them.
But you've still got the old guards there, like
Yeah, that won't let
Brosnan,
go.
who wasn't there because he was having his first child. I mean, that tells you how old those guys are. Danny's got 2 kids. Like,
Yeah,
they're still
Give it a
there.
couple of years, those boys will be either gone or sliding down the result sheet.
yeah.
It's a long transition out, though, eh?
It is. It's going to be cool to see what, like, Lockie, you know, like he started to really come on this year. You know, in 2 years' time, he could be one of the new school dudes who's at the top of the game.
Mm.
I mean, he's already at the top of the game, really, when you look at how close it all is.
Yeah. He's had a couple of pretty impressive results this season already.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
His
a bunch
net
of
worth has
dudes
gone up.
that are still lurking around in there, like Remy Terrion. I mean, even
He was 10th, wasn't he?
yeah, like there's a bunch of those dudes who've been around for quite a while who are still right up there. But then I guess
You
you've
gotta
kind of
think
got
that-
this next. You've kind of already got this next group who have come in, like Dakota Norden, Ronan Dunn, Oshina Callahan, like those guys. They're kind of that in between who've come and pushed through. So yeah, it's kind of
I
always.
wonder how
I mean, it's
much
always
of-
evolving.
Yeah, I wonder how much of that's going to start to change though with how the like the way the World Cups run influences how teams get put together. Because at the moment, you know, you can have 400 people turn up to a race, try and qualify. So you can have a deep field of people who are in their late 50s and a deep field of guys who are like 15, and they can all turn up, try and qualify. But if you've only got like 40 slots for a weekend or whatever, and that's just fixed, and the teams are going, how do we get maximum like visibility at a World Cup race? Like that, you got to wonder whether to still be in the game when you're in your kind of late 30s, you'd have to still actually be cutting it, you know, rather than like there's obviously like, you know, there's no doubt that those guys that are in their late 30s are still cutting it in the sense of like qualifying, which is phenomenal. But like maybe there's less space for a senior rider to kind of mentor guys when a team can only actually get like 3 people into a race weekend or 2 people into a race weekend.
Yeah, totally.
It'll be more ruthless, I think. They'll be way more ruthless. They'll have to be.
But then at the same time, those teams will go, well, there's still value in having like an old dog like as a mentor and a coach. So then, you know, like the Steve Peake coach thing starts to become a bit more.
Yeah,
like,
I think you'll see more of those guys hanging around in that sort of professional role as like a line coach, you know, just general kind of keeping people on task and that sort of thing. Because it's going to go. It's going to start pushing backwards. You know, all these top teams will be looking for younger and younger riders.
And so those, like all those teams will be looking at that top 5 junior field right now, going like, we want to sign one of these guys and have them for the next 3 or 4 years.
No, but they'll be scouting. They'll be like scouting those kids out of like national results. You know, they'll be finding them when they're like 15 and taking a punt on them and going, right, we're going to bring you up.
We're already seeing that to somewhat, aren't we? I mean, it was interesting just been putting together an article on Ali for the Mountain Bike magazine, and like Joe was saying that, you know, how much he had been watching results in the juniors in New Zealand and had been keeping an eye on Ali, and she's 16, you know, like that's cherry picked if ever I saw it.
Yeah. Because when I did that podcast with him, I said to him, I was like, how did you, I don't know whether I did it in that, but I was talking to him, I was like, how did you come across Ali? And he was like, oh, I'd seen her name in the results and that, and then obviously like they've got that Kiwi connection with the union, and he's like, then people started vouching for her and being like, yep, this is the next one, and
and that's where I think you start to see teams, I reckon, go, okay, cool, we've got like a team maybe can afford to have 2 World Cup contenders, but then a development team of 5 like riders who they're going cool standard, like set up as bike contract, blah blah blah. Get yourself to Europe, get yourself racing Europe races or whatever else, and next year you're in the World Cup team, whatever, like that. I think the teams will start to dictate how riders develop more than like maybe how riders dictate it themselves now.
That's an interesting point, Chris. I don't think I've heard that much of it put that way. Like, everyone's going on about how it's going to be so elite at the top and rah-rah, and then we're talking about like these feeder series of races that are going to feed through to the World Cup. But the way that you're putting it is actually those teams can have, their marquee riders, and then they've got like a feeder team below them,
Totally.
which are all part of the same thing, which I think is a pretty interesting point.
I think like a lot of sports that are sort of similar to this in this regard, like that's exactly how it works, right? Like, and it relies on like the more elite the top of the pile is, and the more like aspirational that is, and the more famous those riders are, and all like the more glory there is around the small, like pointy end of the sport, the more like hunger there is to get to that point at the tier below. Whereas if everyone's trying to just sort of be on the same weekend for a World Cup, it's like, well, everyone's kind of a World Cup racer. I think it can be a good thing, and I think it can be really good for the development series and the development riders.
Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see what shakes out, isn't it?
Yeah, how it all plays out. But like I say, I think it's going to lead to good things. I don't know. There seems to be a lot of animosity and the riders, especially in that second tier of riders. But yeah, I think the reality is the World Cup needs to be the pinnacle, and it's like there doesn't need to be 400 people turning up trying to qualify. So
and it's no disrespect to that group of riders who, I mean, fuck, it's easy to say this stuff from the couch, but like if you're a rider who's actually there every weekend, you're seeing what's going on. It does sound like one of the complaints that seems pretty valid is the lack of clarity on what's kind of going to happen, but then the direction seems pretty clear. So you're sort of like the writing's on the wall, but no one's actually clear what exactly the writing is.
Yeah, well, I got a message the other day that, so I got sent like this reform document on how the World Cup is supposed to look next year and with the teams and everything like that. But that hasn't actually. That's all like Warner Brothers or whatever have put that out, but that still needs to be passed in by the UCI in October to actually be given the green light. So it's not even still official yet. Like, this is what they want to do, but the UCI still have to sign off on it. And then, so teams in that aren't still going to know the exact information until October, which is nuts.
So, like, what are they up to, eh?
Budgets are getting signed off now, by companies for 2025. Like marketing budgets, things like that. So it's like you're still just sitting on this no idea. So apparently next year is going to be 10 races. I think the World Cup's going to be 9 rounds, and then World Champs as well. Latuile's back. Did they have a downhill there? Or has that only ever been enduro? I can't remember for sure. Yeah, well, that's going to be a downhill, and then Lake Placid is going to have a downhill as well in the US.
Whiteface, bro. There's a whiteface.
Yeah, Whiteface. Yeah, it'll be Whiteface, I'd say.
Because it was good on the east.
Crocodile was.
Yeah, that was the movie Lake Placid.
We're not going mountain biking here, dog.
Yeah.
That was
it's a crazy
Olympic
place, man.
Cool. It was like they had the Winter Olympics there.
In the 80s. I think the 80s or the 70s.
It's insane the amount of money that's actually gone into that place. I've been there, and you would have raced Whiteface as well, Red Dog.
Yeah,
hopefully they don't race.
It's such a weird place. Nah, because that thing's real long and quite flat at the bottom. Yeah. But it's like the Winter Olympics was there in the 80s, and then they just left, and all the stuff's still there. Like, I remember the track had like all the TV cables and stuff. You rode over them.
No way.
Just left them.
Yeah,
it was real
and
wild.
then the crocodile.
And the crocodile.
Yeah, this is a giant crocodile.
Town being known for two things, like Winter Olympics, and then a giant crocodile that ate everyone.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
But how good? Warner Brothers will be like, yeah, we know the camera cables are all still there. We'll just take their cameras in, blip,
And the
let's go.
crocodile for
And the crocodile.
Yeah, like National
for,
Geographic's coming like, this is great. We can do a double take. We can do the sport, and we've got wildlife. Happy days.
They're going to have a crocodile pit specially made jump over.
Croc pit. I'm down with the croc pit.
Yeah. It'll be like the pond jump at the top of the world's track in Rotorua. That consequently Bruni fell into, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He did. He jumped into the pit.
Yeah.
It must be full of cow shit, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't get some sort of disease out of that.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Man. So yeah, that's interesting that there's still a lot of unknowns going on.
Is that document
surprised.
public?
No.
Okay,
Yes.
I won't.
I sent it to you guys, didn't I? I'm
we
pretty
won't
sure
talk about it then.
I'm pretty sure it's got big confidential stamps across it. I won't say where it came from.
I tell you what, putting confidential stamps on a document is not going to stop people from reading.
Chris and I
I won't
bumped
read
into
this
someone
now
the
that
other
it's-
day who had seen it that said you can't give mountain bikers confidential documents. They're never going to adhere to it.
Yep.
That's why they have to wait till October to make anything official and let anyone know anything. Fortunate, but true.
Hey, Lester, I've got a question. Is
Yeah,
that a
mate.
free ride entertainment cap that you're wearing?
That is
No.
a free ride entertainment.
I've been looking at that
cap.
logo, and it's finally clicked.
It's so it goes back a long way.
Were you part of Neural Disorder?
Yeah, actually.
Are you
kind
just
of,
Bender,
bro?
Robbie Borden.
Yeah,
No, I think that's Dan Sims.
Yeah.
I've just grown a little bit. Actually, yeah, I'm a bit taller than Dan as well, to be fair.
You do look a little bit like Bender.
Just a
Right.
really,
Can we
really
do-
little bit. And the
can we do
similarity
a,
is that we
um,
both have a nose, a mouth, and eyes.
Can we do a comparison,
Yeah, and you-
KB, on the Instagram, like side by side? Can you do
So
one of
you
those
got
up?
edited Lester Perry?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lester, can you dig out some photos from when you guys did the expression session with the Kiwi bus in Castle Rock that we were talking a little while ago about? Like, I remember there was some good hucks that were being done then.
Well, you reckon Bender vibes?
There were some
Yeah,
huts back
big
then.
Bender vibes. Yeah,
Actually, yeah, that was proper free ride. Dropping
I
my
did-
I remember
rocks.
doing some
I didn't
huts
do
with-
the big stuff. That was mostly dodgy, to be fair.
Yeah.
So this, so there's this dude Hector who I came across years ago. I'm pretty sure he's from Spain or he's Spanish.
is he
Anyway,
is he stealing DVDs out of the back of a truck using
right,
a Honda
yeah.
Civic?
yeah, that's right. He
Hey,
was,
Hector.
he was the dude sending me burnt DVDs back in the 90s when they were coming out. Actually, that was pre-DVDs. He was just dubbing them one video player to another.
I've just got
Anyway,
this image
he's
of like
got this.
Hector from Fast and Furious. But anyway, Karen.
He's got this brand called Bicycle Nightmares, which I came across ages ago, and he was doing like a photo print like book, coffee table book, and I brought one. Anyway, he then I kind of follow him on the gram, and he had a pop-up store when Crankworks was on with a full like range of clothing collaboration between Bicycle Nightmares and Free Run Entertainment. So he's like got a full range of gear that's all like Neural Disorder themed and stuff. It's pretty sick.
Niche.
It is very niche, but very cool as well.
That's cool.
So anyway, shout out to Liam Jackson. Because I wasn't there for Crankworks. Liam went and got me a hat and a t-shirt. So shout out to Hector
that's
for putting that together. It was pretty rad to see, like pretty iconic films back in the day. I definitely wore those VCR tapes out. So
Is Free Ride Entertainment still around?
I think it is, eh? Yeah, I think it is.
Have you
What do they do now?
watched?
I don't
There's
know
a
what-
good.
I don't know what they're doing, but
They did quite a good. I think it was like the history of free ride. It was like with Brent Tipping and stuff, but they talked all about the history of free ride entertainment. Well, there might have been a really good article about it. I can't remember. It's a gnarly story. Like Thor Wixom, the guy behind it all, is fascinating. Like he came from big mountain skiing and decided to have a crack at doing
that's right. Yeah.
a mountain bike version of a ski film. Pretty cool.
It looks as though they've blown off mountain biking now, and they been working with
Gone somewhere with money.
Under Armour, Honda, Samsung, Nissan, Lexus. Yeah,
Yeah, it probably makes sense.
they're doing
They
proper
decided,
work.
they decided to go make some money.
Yeah.
It's the Clay Porter model. I think he did the same.
Absolutely. Yeah, learn
Well, it's
their
funny because
craft in mountain biking.
that's the
Tim Pierce.
Tim Pierce model. You know, like
Yeah.
You're
From Hardtail Pride
is.
to
and then in New Zealand.
yeah.
That's
The boy.
I think that's what they all do in the end. They realise that
I mean, I think
mountain biking
like,
doesn't
I
really
don't know if
pay
it's a
anything.
model so much of just like did quite a good job of building their businesses.
Yeah. Mountain biking's a passion sport.
Is he still selling
Not-
Hardtail Pride t-shirts on Vore?
Don't know if
I'd
Hardtail
like to
Pride's
think
still around, but
Okay.
I was on board
He's
just
still
last
shredding,
week.
eh? Tim's a good rider, man. He he was riding somewhere recently. I can't remember where that was, and I was like, yeah, he's still ripping.
Is it?
He's actually a dude that we need to do a podcast with.
he'd have some
absolutely.
stories, eh?
It'd be
Sure.
so interesting.
Yep.
That's a great idea.
I'll hit him up. We message each other every now and then. I'll get him lined up.
Would you be a little bit sort of self-conscious about the quality of your media production, though?
Oh, 100%.
But
Yeah.
the big thing is you've
Like
got to make
you
it crappy
join
enough
and
that
he'd
it
be in a
seems cool.
studio with like a proper sound setup and everything. Voice be crisp.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I've just got a bit of playback coming through from your end. Can you just tweak your levels, please?
No, I reckon
levels, man.
Tim's an OG. He'll just join on the phone. He wouldn't care.
Yeah. No headphones or nothing, just in the car.
Just driving around.
Do we need to talk about any kit that we saw at the Worlds? Because
a lit kit.
I think we need to talk about tuned mass dampers.
Can we talk
That's
real
interesting.
quick about just before we get into tuned mass dampers? Fuck, that's an interesting topic. Good to see World Cups bikes just keeping it tidy this year. World Champs bike, sorry.
Except for Minar's bike. It looked like a kid had
those
drawn all over the thing with
Norcos are
crayons.
Nah,
It's terrible.
I
Yeah.
got a yarn about that.
Disgusting.
He all season he's been resisting the team like designs, and he just couldn't
Who is
couldn't
in
stop them this time
charge?
around.
And why are they
I'm
still-
pretty sure it's one of their one of the mechanics or one of the team members.
Why do they still have a
three
job?
dumb? It's three dumb. I thought it was three dumb.
If you refer to yourself as three dumb,
No,
Then
but it
don't
does
get
look
me
like
started.
his stuff. I don't think it is
I
him,
thought
but-
it was.
Oh, he might have done some stuff at the very early point. But
Oh, okay.
no, I heard
don't
the
know
dude
who that
referred
is,
to
but I just
on a
saw it in the
video.
comment.
My favourite part about that is the fact that all season they did like a special kit release early season where two of the team members had those kits, and then Greg Minard just had his like real standard Fox kit. He's like, no, thank you. It's sort of like his
Yeah.
clause in his contract for I'll do one social media post per year for the team. Otherwise, I'm doing the GM program.
It's I can't get behind their look. It just doesn't work to me.
nah. It's not
the sleeper bikes. I thought the intense graphics. It didn't come across really good on when they were racing them, but I saw some photos up close, and they had some pretty cool, like stylized flag graphic behind the intense logo. And I thought they looked pretty cool. Quite well done.
I think if it's an intense and it's a World Champs bike, if it's not like a full monocoque style frame that's got like a full like square footage of like design
Fair.
space, I'm not interested. Like I don't want tubing. I want a fucking sail that you can paint a giant bald eagle on and an American flag. Yeah.
Look, you
Otherwise,
guys are going to be
okay.
shocked.
Bring
And I
back
said
the
it last
M1.
episode, but I'm going to stand by this. The Santa Cruzes were the best looking bikes.
They did good.
I won't really disagree, Kerry, although I did enjoy Danny Hart's GT. I thought that looked clean. It looked good.
Danny's GT was very tidy, actually.
And I
The
did
Santa
like
Cruzes were pretty good.
I did like the Fox kit, even though Kieran's going to edit this out now. I like the shoes and the stand, like the one colour shoes, the one colour kit, the one colour helmet. That was
Yeah.
good.
Nah, Fox did do a
Actually,
pretty good job of that.
No,
Is
Max just won World Champs this year. That's all that matters.
Oh, well, the hot patches.
What's his?
Hot patches on the tyres, that was
They were
pretty
sick.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
Was it Ollie Zwar, the dude,
Yeah.
the Swedish guy?
Swedish guy?
kit?
Yeah.
Swedish rider?
Australian.
A Swash Australian.
Swedish
yeah.
Australian.
I reckon his kit did it for me.
With the
Yellow
blue
and
and yellow.
blue. Yeah, it looked sick. That was
Sick.
real good.
Angel's
Not
overdone.
looked good as well.
Actually, speaking
Very
of
smooth.
Yeah,
Australians
Suarez did.
and lit bikes, Ollie Davis did fucking well. He got 8th.
Mm.
It was a real good ride. Like, I mean, he's always had some real potential there, but he hasn't shown it at the start of this year, and that was a pretty damn good ride from him.
I guess
Is that
if
a
you
permanent ride?
ride Minar's old bike and you dress up like him, and your bike basically looks like a South African bike, you probably got a good shot of doing well.
That's true.
Yeah, look good, feel good, ride good
Yeah.
type scenario. I don't know what his deal's going to be, because essentially I think he's there as a fill-in, in quote marks, for Jackson this year. So I don't know what's going to happen with Ollie next year.
Yeah, but he outperformed Laurie, didn't he?
Yeah, yep. Put a few spots into him. So
Right.
Laura did pretty well though. Still,
yeah, Laurie
that
was still
wasn't
pretty good.
bad.
He was top 20.
Yeah, it's been out
So-
for a while.
Yeah,
That's a tough year for the syndicate, eh?
yeah, definitely after last year
Mm.
with Jackson just destroying everything.
I mean, and
Do you
that's a
think they
team
come
that just,
back with the same team? Maybe old mate Davis aside.
Well, I think Jackson and Nina, I would say, for sure's, but I don't know what position contract-wise Laurie is in, but I don't know. I feel like Santa Cruz isn't the type of team. Syndicate's not the type of team that just writes someone off, especially because it looks like he's been dealing with a fair bit of like health stuff and that sort of thing. So it'll be real interesting.
They did clean house though when they got rid of Loris and what's his name?
Bryson.
I reckon they lost a bit of faith in Rennie too.
That's
At the end there.
That was kind of warranted, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think everyone lost faith in them. No, I mean,
like
Loris.
when all those changes went down, there was a lot of changes in the company as well at the top.
But there wasn't
So
really
maybe that
forced
was a
exits.
result of
There
that.
was Loris kind of wanting to go his own direction and go to Trek, and then Laurie
Luca
was
the
still
same.
there, so it wasn't really like a cleaning of house. Bryceland had already gone to the farm to live his new life.
I watched an interesting interview with Bryson the other day. He,
I think I'm about to mention the same one.
I haven't watched it yet, but I have seen a couple of snippets
good.
from it.
It's a good watch, man. He talks a lot about. Like, you get a bit of an insight of what it must have been like being in that team, because one of the things he talks about is testing.
And he's not just like, no, man, yeah, sick, man.
Yeah, there's literally.
Is that how it goes?
Yeah, well, he's actually you can hear what he's saying. Like,
he's speaking quite clearly.
He's like I was impressed.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. But
pretty legit.
Like, he talks about testing sessions that they would do with Steve and Minar, and he said that, like, one, Roscott would run like these like punishments for whoever was slowest on testing sessions, and so testing sessions were like full-blown race weekends.
Oh yeah, because they'd like end up in a dress at dinner and shit like that.
Yeah.
And like, he hated testing. He was like, I just want my bike to feel good. I want to know what's going to happen when I hit a rock. And he'd turn up to test. It's like Greg Minnar and Steve Pete just fucking belting him, making him go faster.
Worked for him though.
Interesting
He won a World Cup title.
But anyway, it sounds like he's going to have a crack at a World Cup next year. I'd love to see that. I think that'd be.
Will he be able to though? He probably won't be able to now if all these changes come in.
Well, this is the thing though, right? So at what point does Warner Brothers, the World Cup, go, we're going to have 3 wildcard slots for a weekend because it's good for publicity?
Start pulling some cameos in.
Handy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be good to see. I mean, he's probably going to get absolutely pumped with what has changed in the last 5 years.
Am I right in saying that if you're on a UCI pro team or whatever, it shortens the route in? And I think that's what he mentioned as well, something along like he would be part of a pro team or something.
It sounds like the direction I imagine that would go is that the team just get slots. and the teams decide who's on the slot, like who's on the ticket.
Mm.
You know, that's how it works. And I mean, F1, for example, like Ferrari's got 2 drivers on the grid, and they choose who's in the car. I think that seems like it's how the World Cup would logically go. As if they're saying that there's 40 spots, then you don't switch to qualifiers that you are selected. Because that's how the World Champs works, right? You don't qualify for World Champs, you get selected to go to it.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting change in a sport. I guess F1 is kind of like that as well. I was going to say in a sport where it's like so variable, you can have 2 guys who are basically the same. This dude says, yeah, I'm on one, and he's fit and healthy, and the other dude says, yeah, I'm on one and I'm fit and healthy. You know, how do they make that decision? But I guess F1 has that problem all the time.
Selectors.
So actually,
Yeah.
But
thinking about
if there's less people at a weekend, like if there's 40 people at a weekend.
a team, so the teams can consist of a maximum of 10 athletes. You think of like, just speaking of downhill teams, like most of these teams only have, let's say,
4.
let's take the syndicate.
Maybe?
They've got 3 or 4. Could you then, this is just a money-making scheme for the rest of the team, because then they can be, well, hey, we've got another 5 or 6 slots open, and if you want to be on this team, that's going to cost you 20 grand for that spot.
Yeah, paper right. That exists everywhere though, right?
In every sport,
but it's never really had. It's never really had the need for it in World Cups. You know, like you could put together your own kind of team, like we've seen a few do, but it was much cheaper. But now, as a World Cup team, you could be like,
but that's exactly it. Though. Like if a World Cup team they can have 10 seats or 10 riders, right? They're not going to take all 10 of them to a World Cup, so they have a squad of 10 riders, and then they go, right, the rest of you guys, you know, like we're picking 2 people for the World Cup team this season. Maybe you've got people who are like on the bubble or like can swap in, but then the rest of you guys, like, cool, we've got your entries for, you know, the 5 rounds of the Europe Cup and, you know, the 5 rounds of the US Cup. Like you can totally see a world where a World Cup team has got 2 guys and a girl at the World Cup. They've got, you know, 3 or 4 people at a Europe series and 3 or 4 people at a US series.
I'm just going to be waiting for next year to see a World Cup team show up with 10 riders, and all of them are like just unknowns, and they've all paid like 50 grand each to just go race World Cups.
It's interesting though, like,
and it will be MS.
Would you pay your way, Jerry?
Not these days. Shit. No.
You think about this though, like I guess we've all been saying, oh, but what about the privateer guy who can't afford to go or he's going to miss out on a ride or whatever. You know, this is actually probably a better avenue for him, because if there's a team infrastructure there and he can pull together his 15 grand or whatever for his seat, which he's going to have to spend anyway, even if he's sleeping in his van, the whole thing, and mechanicking under his own 3x3 tent or whatever. Like, it actually legitimizes the whole privateer thing in that, okay, I'm prepared. I'm committed to this thing. I'm going to buy my $15,000 seat under this tent because I'm going to spend the money anyway and get a worse off, potentially a worse off experience doing it off your own back and sleeping in your van, you know? So
those companies will still do their due diligence though. They'll, for that 15 grand, they'll want the best guy they can get, sort of thing.
Oh, absolutely they will. But I think that that's good because that's a little bit of a
barrier.
You know, there's a barrier to entry. And if like KB's saying, if teams can be 10 deep and they've only got 3 legit riders and they can sell the rest of the seats, there ain't that many privateers there who are like serious enough.
Yeah,
but for a World Cup team to take 10 people to a World Cup, they'd have to have a massive pit setup, like you can't.
Well, I'm not suggesting they take them all there, but it's like
they put them on the team.
They put them in the team, and they might be able to support them in some way.
Yeah.
You would hope that they're going to get a better deal doing that than doing it all off their own back.
But that's the thing, that seems a lot like a World Tour team, right? So like you've got a World Tour. How big's a big World Tour cycling team?
20.
No, like the full roster. Be bigger than 20, wouldn't it?
No, like 28 to. I'm just thinking 28 to 30 riders, something like that.
30 riders, and then they go to a Grand Tour, and what are they, like 6?
6-ish. Yeah,
8, I think, at the tour.
8 at the tour,
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
So they're sort of like, they're going to have within that, they're going to have the guys that are sort of like there's no way you're going to a world tour series race this year, but you're on. We expect you to be winning X, Y, and Z. So like, you can see the same thing happening. And if the UCI will be looking at what's successful in cycling and going, well, this is what we know works over here. Like, they'll replicate stuff that they know, right?
Yeah, that's a super valid point.
True.
What you could do is, if you're one of these teams, you have 2 spots under the tent with mechanic and that during the weekend. So top 2 riders from the previous week, they're under the tent. Everyone else is on their own. You do it. You get to the race by your own. You mechanic. You do all your own shit. Whoever the top 2 riders are that weekend, they're in the house. They've got the accommodation. They've got the tent. They've got the mechanics the next weekend. So it's just a constant rotation in and out, and just absolutely cutthroat as to who, there'll be sticks through wheels and everything on the side of the track.
How good would that be, though?
Like, KV's getting the call up in a couple of weeks' time to come and run the syndicate. He's like, someone's listening going, I really like the sound of that. Like, I feel like I really like the idea of just putting the shit up Laurie a little bit. Let's run that program.
If the syndicate offered,
contrast, like, they've got a really, really nice house if you are under the tent, and fuck all if you're not.
Yeah,
and you got to do
under the tent. If you're not under the tent, you're on your own.
In fact, you don't even get a mechanic if you're not under the tent. You are the mechanic for the guys under the tent.
If you're not under the tent, you're full privateer spec, and you're battling to get under there next week.
Last year's bike, last weekend's tyres.
And but if you beat one of the guys under the tent, like, what's the punishment for the guy under the tent? Like,
he's out. He's the privateer next week.
Next weekend,
you don't just lose your slot. Like, there's got to be some kind of public hazing going on.
Well, this is why every team now has an in-house filmer, right? It literally becomes like a reality TV.
The Brothers Discovery Hunger Games mountain bike.
Yeah. I might finally watch all the vlogs that come out.
We've just got a confession booth afterwards. It's just like Laurie's just sitting there going like, fuck, like, I'm under a lot of pressure this weekend. Like Roscoe's not even in the team anymore, but even he's calling me, giving me shit.
Oh man.
Like, Cessna walked past and threw a fucking orange at me.
Threw a shoe. Honestly, man, who throws a shoe? Oh shit.
Red Dog, how's the pocket prep going?
As I said, guys, easy week this week. Easy week.
What are you into next weekend?
I did turn up on the weekend. I've done this last couple of weekends where I'm in full lycra. No peak on the helmet, but everyone else is in gear. Horse had knee pads on.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Horse had knee pads?
Yeah.
He's smart.
He's serious.
Yeah,
you get to a certain age, and I'm like that. I wear knee pads all the time. I'm on a mountain bike now.
Should I get some elbow guards to wear with my lycra?
Definitely.
Yes. I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe just
over top of the long sleeve. Like, just strap it on over top.
Yeah.
That'll
Actually,
work.
before I went on my little holiday the other week, I saw, like, literally 2 days before we left, I think it was, Pink Bike posted some video, what to expect when you visit a bike park or something like that, or how to ride a bike park. And I was like, oh, this could be
Did
funny.
you watch it? Just so you got some tips?
I did, yeah, it was pretty funny. And they're recommending putting your pads on outside of your clothes, because that way your knee pads will slide on the ground instead of your pants getting caught on the ground.
Yeah, that's if you're tossing up.
You're just setting up all these squids.
Do I put my knee pads on the inside or the outside of my jeans? You've got the wrong problem. Like, they're like, having said that, like, I think I'd like to go riding in jeans again sometime soon. Not,
I tell you what,
I was shuttle day in jeans.
The state of it is this: we roll up to the lift at Whistler, and I'm like, crap, I didn't get the memo. You're supposed to be riding in rolled up dickies now. Like,
oh yeah, dickies are back.
Forgot all about it. There I am in like actual mountain bike pants.
Like pants.
Yeah. Like pants.
Yeah.
But you just got to roll the
baggy
cuffs
ones.
Up. And also the real
they got to be real baggy
ones.
Yeah. Baggy enough that your crank you could get wound around your crank or something.
Can you still get the knockoffs? Because it might be
Probably.
me.
Davis.
Davis.
Like Ben Davis's, yeah.
Oh, Ben Davis, yeah.
Back
Yeah.
in my day at Crankworks, it was like if you showed up and wore any sort of like race looking kit, be there at Crankworks time in Whistler, man, that was just the most uncool thing you could possibly do. I mean, we're talking like 2008, 9, 10 or whatever. Everyone's just in their skinny jeans and their t-shirts, and that was how they all rode in Whistler the whole time. I think I rode in Dickies because that was the Dickies era for me as well, but Dickies
Good
shorts,
era.
not Dickies pants.
Sounds like that's still going on.
I just remember
That's-
you'd roll down you'd be riding or whatever, and because there was people everywhere, like pros everywhere, and you'd see like, I remember Hill and Faircloth rolling past at one point. We were on the side of the track, and they're just in like tight black jeans and monster t-shirts. It was just
Yeah. Yes.
What a good time.
I tell you, the other thing that Kai and I did over there was one of their Wednesday night Blimmin' Walker $5 races or whatever
Fat
they are.
Wednesday.
Fat Wednesday.
Fat Wednesday, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And in classic enduro fashion, it poured with rain. It was so wet. But it was sick. It was really cool. $7 entry, free beer at the end.
Yeah. They do a
And then
good
you
job
pay,
of that sort of event over there.
Oh, it was
Journey
sick,
races
man. It
and
was
stuff.
so
It's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Is that run by like the Whistler like events kind of
No, I
crew,
mean
or is that
Walker.
run like by a local
Nah,
crew?
it's Walker, the local club organisation,
Yeah,
right.
club.
who also slay it. They do so much cool stuff. Like every
Yeah.
trail you're riding, you're like, oh, this is a Walker hand-built,
That's
volunteer-built trail.
WORCA, Whistler Off-Road Cycling Association, or something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. There was some stuff that they built which was so sick.
I
I just
wait for
can't
us.
believe some of the stuff that they get away with building over there, and it's like legit made trail, and it's some serious high consequence stuff. You just in New Zealand, you wouldn't get away with it.
Not these
You
days.
couldn't get away
Like
with
all the
how much they
skinnies and
clear
stuff.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
I'm looking forward, KB, for us to build the Norca track.
The Nelson
Like
Off-Road Cycling Association.
Yeah, like we spin up our own little pirate club and build like one trail.
You
I'd
don't
like to
build.
see.
You
I'd
don't
like to
build
see
anything
photos
in
of you
Nelson.
guys digging.
Hey, I went digging like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, you did too.
Did you?
Yeah.
What did you?
Man,
What did you
Man,
think?
the people.
Broken Axe, downhill track.
Broken Axe.
Yeah.
God.
Took
Making
Oscar up
DH
there.
great again.
Mucked in. Dug some downhill tracks. Going to look at another one Friday next week.
Happy days.
This is one for the classics. We're looking to rebuild Devil's Tail on Fringe Hill.
Oh wow,
So we're going to scope it out on a couple of weeks' time.
it'll be a
Which is-
completely new. It won't have any
it's-
similarity, will it?
It's actually, you'd be surprised, like that whole ridge line is still pretty similar. Obviously the trees are a bit smaller, but the pines have actually got quite big already, and it's all still the same. There's one big
Okay.
skid site, which is about where that 40-foot step down used to be, which is really the only big cut in the land. But yeah, hopefully we can get something pretty similar in there, which will be cool.
That'll
Are
be
you
sick.
thinking that on the skid site, KB, when you build it, are you going to build like a big sketchy step down or a jump or something that's just really exposed to the wind?
With a wind
What I
sock.
reckon, because you're thinking more of Kaka with the wind issues, but what I'm thinking is really, I'm taking it back to like the mid 2000s where we're going to have a big double, and it's going to be made entirely of like the trees and the slash that we can find on the skid site. It'll have a nice square pile of logs on the back of it that'll also have a few bits sticking out, so when you case it, one of those bits will definitely go just straight through your thigh
Just
and
impale.
like impale you.
Yeah, that
Don't
sounds
case
good.
it.
And like it'll just get weathered to shit across the course of the year, and then race
Oh,
week
and
will
it'll start
roll
falling
around.
apart, and it'll be fine. We'll still jump it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's good. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
We're gonna keep it sketchy.
Yeah. And then one weekend, KV's out on the XC bike, and he's just gone, I wonder if I could probably get that on the Blur. Sure enough,
And I'd
he
probably
does.
be by myself too, and just give it a
you'd be by
nudge.
yourself.
You'd be fine though because you'd have your elbow pad on.
Yeah, it's true, just the one.
You literally, you've still got the elbow pad in there. That one that you picked up from the bathroom the other day.
Yeah.
Elbow pad.
As you can tell, we're getting to the end of the show. We've got some merch incoming, and we've got some samples coming, I think, maybe later this week or next week, and then we're gonna have some new. We've got a new logo and got some new t-shirts. So these we'll have some pre-sales up on those. So get your bank accounts ready because these bad boys are actually going to be pretty damn cool.
Awesome.
Chris has just put headphones on. I don't know
I'm
if he's even
concerned. He
still
looks
connected
real
anymore.
worried. Red Dog has seemingly disappeared.
Red Dog's
Sorry
gone
about
blank now.
that. I changed my headphones out. Sorry, guys.
Nah.
What I just bought there at the end there, KB, was get your bank accounts ready. Were you talking to us or the listeners?
Everyone.
Yeah, okay, good.
Now we got merch. We got merch incoming. So
you have to buy your own merch, Chris. So you get your account ready.
Buy your way onto the team. Listeners don't know
buy
this,
your
but
way
I
onto
just
the
pay,
OTB
I
team.
pay KB like a weekly fee to be here.
You're paying the server fees.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Straight to AWS.
We got some riding some riding jerseys potentially incoming that we're gonna, hopefully offer up too, which will be quite cool. Lester's done a pretty slick looking design, so when we get some samples of those too, we can get that underway, which will be cool.
I think we need to have like a seen in the wild sort of competition. Like if you buy a t-shirt or a riding top, and then you're seen in the wild wearing it by one of us, that we do
you get
something.
Invited onto the podcast.
Yeah. I mean,
we want to give them something good.
We give you a free high five.
Yeah, we'll give you another t-shirt.
No, good.
Like,
all right.
I'd like to see a where was the OTB scene type thing. Like, who's our listener in? Was it Norway somewhere?
We apparently got someone in the Cayman Islands.
Scotland.
We keep showing. we had a guy in Scotland. We keep showing up on the Cayman podcast charts. I think Ken Dart might listen to us. Not too sure, but
maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
How good would that be?
Yeah.
Shout out, Uncle Ken.
Nah. All right, boys. I reckon it's time to sign off.
Oh, Red Dog's back. See you, Red Dog.
We've got a World Cup next weekend, and then I guess we'll be back next week.
Yeah, let's do a fucker check-in next week. I reckon I can squeeze in about 3 hours of training in the next 7 days.
You'll probably do more than me in the next
more than me.
few days, so should be good.
I'm up. Happy days. Yeah, I didn't even ask Red Dog my form on the weekend, but anyway, catch you later. Hooroo.
Cheers, boys. Right. See you next week.
What's up? I come from the land of down under. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. I let it be like John Lennon, the anti-serum that you don't get for poisonous venom. Read the label carefully, I'm only here for the show. I love hip-hop too much to let you feed my ego. In the key of F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. I mean, why do I owe you if you're not helping me through? I mean, why do I owe you if you're obstructing my view? Success is not my castle, just a house that's brand new. You see, I irrigate the culture, give it shape like a sculpture. Still complicated, drop like I'm supposed to. B-L-I-T-Z like my DJ. Rock to the rhythm like you rock to what he plays.